Hey everybody, this is Bill. Welcome to the channel. It's that time of year again, and in this video, we are talking college football, where we'll be previewing the 2022 Florida State Seminoles. Can FSU get back on track under Coach Mike Norvell? Let's take a look. Simply stated, it is a pivotal season for Florida State head coach Mike Norvell. While it is certainly noted that Norvell inherited a mess as he begins his third season, there is no question Norvell has excelled in several significant areas. However, the most important area on the ledger, wins, remains elusive. And while Florida State closed nicely last season, the Seminoles fell short of reaching a bowl game after a concerning 0-4 start. That start, although including an overtime home opening loss to Notre Dame, was seared as negative with a mind-boggling home loss to Jacksonville State, an FCS team from Alabama, not to be confused with those neighboring Jaguars down the road. There is no doubt that loss cost Norvell measurable goodwill with much of the fan base, but there is a high degree of optimism heading into the 2022 season. The items Norvell has performed strongly in, many being little things that make the difference in success, are bearing fruit. Among these areas are strength and nutrition, the mental buy-in and discipline by the players, and most, if not all, of the problem children have been sent off to less challenging pastures. Perhaps more notably, Norvell now has a team with players who can execute in line with his coaching philosophies. The Seminoles seem improved at each level, offensively, defensively, and on special teams. Perhaps most importantly again is the maturation of the offensive line, which obviously is critical for the success of an offense. Now Norvell has recruited well, and he has once again really made gains in the transfer portal, bringing in several key players set for immediate impact. So for 2022, the schedule remains tough for the Seminoles, but less challenging than the one faced last season. There seems little doubt, provided FSU remains healthy, the Seminoles will be a much better football team this season, expected to reach a bowl game. So let's take a look at this talented and improved football team. After clearly winning the quarterback job, Jordan Travis continued to elevate his game, playing outstanding ball down the stretch for the Seminoles last season. Now, this team is unquestionably his. While Travis was quite effective with the use of his legs, he threw 15 touchdowns versus 6 interceptions, which is not great. Often running for his life, Travis was prone to being banged up, missing time periodically, so it's imperative that Travis play smart and remain healthy. But Travis has worked to improve in the offseason, adding strength, extending his command of the offensive philosophy, and improving his passing skills, which has been quite noticeable for fall camp observers. Now, we think Travis could be a player who surprises nationally, throwing for around 2,500 yards with 25 touchdowns, while adding another 500 yards rushing with some timely advances. Backing Travis up, Tate Rodemaker and A.J. Duffy have improved noticeably, and these guys are quality backups. An improved offensive line will certainly help, so we expect to see significantly improved numbers from Travis. As we mentioned, the offensive line has been poor for years. However, the unit this year is without question improved under stellar position coach Alex Atkins, who doubles as the offensive coordinator now. At center, Florida State would like to play Maurice Smith, a top player who has put on some weight after playing and getting injured undersized, but we're not exactly sure his availability for 2022. Caden Lyles transferred in from Wisconsin and was expected to at a minimum complete here, but an injury in fall camp has him lost for the 2022 campaign. Others are now working at this important position to provide stability, and they are Bryson Estes and Thomas Schrader. Now, Dylan Gibbons is solid at one guard, and Darius Washington may be the other. Top backups here are Thomas Schrader and Zane Herring. A lot of these players are interchangeable on the interior of the offensive line, which is a good situation. Now, the versatile Washington seems to be a fit at tackle opposite Robert Scott, but Lamar transfer Bless Harris seems destined to play and get frequent snaps. Additionally, Charlotte transfer Dimitri Emmanuel could play tackle, and South Carolina transfer Jazen Turnetine can get involved as well. Now, Florida State freshman Julian Armella and Kenyatta Charlton are ready if needed, but this unit has much more quality depth, and although not among tops in the conference, it is indeed much improved. While Norvell teams in the past have had strong passing attacks, that success has been predicated on the run game. Although this team is not as complete as far as the makeup Norvell ultimately seeks, the Seminoles do have a very strong complement of running backs. This group includes Trey Benson, who transferred in from Oregon. Benson is coming off an injury, but he has looked tremendous since his arrival, and he will figure prominently in the offense. Now, Trayshawn Ward is a shifty guy who makes would-be tacklers miss, and he's going to get a high number of carries. Lawrence Toafili is a home run threat rushing and receiving out of the backfield, so he will without question get his share of snaps. Now, for depth purposes, wide receiver Joshua Burrell has gotten some work at running back, but look for true freshman Rodney Hill, who may be one of the fastest players on the team, to establish himself. The receiving corps has sadly been a deficiency for the Seminoles, who have really not had a top-level player seemingly since Rashad Green left. Now, Ontario Wilson, who has led the team in catches the last 2 seasons in a row, returns, but he might be fighting for catches this year. Oregon transfer Micah Pittman seems the consistent performer the Seminoles have been seeking, so we expect him to grab a starting position. Arizona State transfer Johnny Wilson, being a strong blocker, is a big target, giving the Seminoles heightened opportunities in short yardage situations and in the red zone. Now, Winston Wright transferred in from West Virginia after leading the Mounties in 2021 with 63 catches. But he was injured in an off-season car accident. Although he is working his way back, nobody seems exactly sure when he might be available. Now, Illinois transfer Deuce Spahn has been quite a pleasant surprise, a rare combination of size and speed. Look for Spahn to get plenty of snaps. Now, on the roster is Malik Mclean, and at 6'4", he is a big target. But he has been a bit slow to develop. The time is now for Mclean. He's got plenty of opportunity, and he's got some skills for sure. Now, experienced contributor Keyshawn Helton, Darian Williamson, and Kentron Pointier, along with Josh Burrell, are all working to take their game to a new level. Jakai Douglas is a guy that I want to keep my eye on. He has made some game-changing big plays, and he continues to be ready out of the slot to make a house call at a moment's notice. So I got my eye on him. Now, overall, this group seems to be in prime position to be very, very much improved, and everyone in Nole Nation is counting on that. Cameron McDonald is the leader in the locker room, and he returns at tight end, as does Wyatt Rector, a former quarterback who has some deceptive skills at this position. Marcuston Douglas is turning some heads in fall camp, and expectations are high for youngsters Brian Courtney and Gerald Powers. But make no mistake, FSU coaches are looking for more, much more, from the position of tight end. Now, it all has to come together, but with an improved offensive line, a key element of an offensive success, a group of wide receivers poised to reach new heights, and a very impressive group of talented running backs, with Jordan Travis directing a more structured and wide-open offensive attack, the Seminoles have a chance to be somewhat potent. We expect in the neighborhood of 500 yards per game and around 33 points per game. And if so, that statistic alone should send these hungry Seminoles bowling. Now, in looking at the defensive unit, last year the Seminoles hit a home run with edge rusher Jermaine Johnson, who transferred in from Georgia and won All-America honors before becoming a first-round draft pick. Can they do it again? Odds are against it, but FSU did bring in an edge rusher who can play at a very high level. Highly sought-after Albany transfer Jared Verse is ready to rock. He's 6'5", 250. Now, Derek Mclendon's another quality player at the position, and I look for him to continue to emerge. The Seminoles are stacked inside. Defensive tackles Fabian Lovett and Robert Cooper are potential All-ACC players, And on the edge is Dennis Briggs, who's coming off an injury. He's primed for a big year. Keep your eye on Briggs. Now, Patrick Payton is a good-looking young edge prospect, but observers in fall camp have just been noticing repeatedly Joshua Farmer, who looks like he has the look of a future star. Malcolm Ray and Jarrett Jackson continue their development inside. Now, not surprisingly, the defensive front under Coach Odell Haggins might be the team's top strength. The linebacking core is pretty good. Amari Gainer is a high-level athlete, a lock for the all-bus team, but as we've previously stated, he continues to be kind of a tweener, and coaches are really working to find the best spot for him, but make no mistake, he needs to be on the field. Now, Steven Dix has talent. He was rushed into service there as a true freshman. He did not play as much last year, but he continues to develop, and I'm looking to see him more in the future. Now, one linebacking spot will go to Tatum Bethune, who transferred in after leading UCF in tackles in 2021. Now, Bethune plays all over the field, and he could well challenge for conference honors. On the weak side, Kalen DeLoach really raised his game last year, and he's primed for another big season. DJ Lundy's another quality player who continues to get better, and freshman Omar Graham may get a chance to figure in. Also, keep your eye out for converted safety Brendan Gant. This guy can make some plays, and I look for him to be a factor in the linebacking core in 2022. I am really excited about the potential of the Seminoles secondary for 2022. Now, FSU knows what they have in safety Jamie Robinson, who led the team in tackles in 2021. But with the Seminoles visualizing linebacker Tatum Bethune gathering a large portion of those tackles, Robinson can even be more effective in 2022. Now, former 5-star recruit Akeem Dent, who's an excellent athlete, he should be primed for a strong season at strong safety. Sidney Williams, Jarquez McClellan, and Shaheem Brown are all talented backups who can be counted on. Now, sophomore corner Omarion Cooper showed top-level skills on occasion last year, and he could play himself into consideration for conference honors. Kevin Knowles also shined, so there's a high level of confidence in this pair of corners. Now, Renardo Green is available, and I look for him to play frequently. And Jarian Jones, he's going to be active as well. Greedy Vance, Travis J., and transfer Malik Feaster are reserves that can also be counted on. Now, a pair of true freshman corners seem destined for stardom. Azrae Thomas and Sam McCall are too talented to keep off the field. It's that simple. So expect them to gain playing time as the season progresses. Now, between the growth and addition of quality transfers, the defense has built some high-level depth and established a rising level of talent at each level of the unit. Now, in 2021, once things got settled, the defensive unit actually performed fairly well. We expect the 2022 unit to be menacing and capable to some extent of controlling a game, particularly if we see the continued growth that we're anticipating. So this group will be fun to watch, and I think this defensive unit could really surprise us. At special teams, Ryan Fitzgerald returns at place kicker. He has not been stellar, so we still consider that a work in progress. Alex Mastermano will continue to handle the punts. And although there was some consistency last year, we think improvements needed there as well, and we expect it this year. Now, returning kicks has been a long-time problem for the Seminoles. We surrender a tremendous amount of hidden yardage, which is just hideous. The return game seems to be low-hanging fruit on the path to improvement for the Seminoles. And perhaps this has been addressed with two players who are coming in from the transfer portal. Micah Pittman, who can handle punt returns after averaging 10 yards per return last year at Oregon, and Deuce Spann on kickoff returns after having some success at Illinois in that regard last year. Now, there are plenty of other players with high levels of speed and elusiveness, and this area has to be given top priority to recoup this hidden yardage that the Seminoles continue to lose. We think that's going to happen in 2022. Now, Mike Norvell has done a great job in cleaning house, emptying the locker room of all the troublemakers. In fact, this team appears really close. and ready to fight for one another. Now, we saw some of that last year. The team never gave up, and they fought hard to the end. It's this type of journey that makes all these experiences all the more rewarding. So we're excited at the prospects of this team. Of course, a trip to New Orleans early to face LSU gives the Seminoles a delicious opportunity to defeat an SEC team in hostile territory and use that as a prelude to a successful season. But for once, we really feel the intangibles are trending in the favor of Florida State. Now, folks, we can't dodge what is obviously very apparent to Nole Nation. This is nothing short of a critical season for Florida State, and more specifically, head coach Mike Norvell. A losing season is simply unacceptable, and Florida State must make a bowl game in 2022. In fact, most acknowledge that Norvell has performed significantly well in every other area other than wins. The time for the wins to occur is right now. While there's no question FSU will miss defensive end Jermaine Johnson, who not only dominated on the field but was a centerpiece in the locker room, once again the Seminoles appear improved at each and every level of play, and we do think a bowl game will be achieved this season. 3 areas of deficiency that we expect improvements that could raise the overall level of play for the Seminoles are the offensive line, the wide receivers, and the special teams. Norvell's done a great job in working to improve these areas. Now, the schedule is challenging. It looks like it's easier, but it's still very challenging. After a week 0 tune-up, a huge opportunity exists, as we've noted, as FSU travels to New Orleans to face LSU, who is in transition under new coach Brian Kelly, who came in from Notre Dame. Now, after a bye comes significant contests that could determine the order of finish in the Atlantic Division. FSU travels to face a dangerous Louisville team, and then returns home to host Boston College and Wake Forest. Now, each of these are winnable games, and after these games are played, we should have a good read on the Seminoles. Anything worse than 3-2 here would be very disappointing. Then come a pair of contests where Florida State will be underdogs at a much improved and veteran NC State Wolfpack team, and then returning home for a game with nationally ranked Clemson. Now, both of those games are going to be tall orders. After another bye week, FSU then closes, hosting Georgia Tech, a road game at rival Miami and Syracuse, then home for Louisiana and the rival Florida Gators. Now, FSU seems to be an underdog to both Miami and Florida, but they could also win both. They did beat Miami last year. So following the odds, the Seminoles will probably come in 6-6. But we think FSU beats LSU and or Louisville and holds serve at home early. FSU could then be gaining strength as the season progresses, and it would be great to upset Miami or Florida. If that happened, the Seminoles could potentially be 9-3, but we're going to place our stake at 7-5. This gets FSU to a bowl game and allows Mike Norvell to continue his work as head coach. That will give us a brighter future. Well, folks, we can't wait for kickoff. Go Noles! Well, folks, there's our 2022 preview of the Florida State Seminoles. We'd like to thank you very much for watching. Do subscribe to our page and like the video if you're so inclined. You can follow us on Facebook at The Color and Pageantry, where we do have college football updates, and you can see our weekly top 25 as we go through the season. So again, thank you so much for watching. We hope you have a great day, and we all join you in looking forward to kickoff 2022. Thanks for watching. See you next time.